Well, hello my friends on YouTube. Well, long story short, I got scammed. I bought a counterfeit knife and as some of you know, it was the RAT-1. But now I got the original RAT-1 and I bought it from a trusted dealer. So I thought I would sort of start over again with the first impressions on the original and then show you what the differences are. I chose to keep the fake RAT-1 as a reminder to myself, not to get cheated again. And without further ado, this is the fake. Right away I have to thank my viewer David Hill for directing my attention to this fake, and as soon as I got the original one in hand, I had no doubt that the other one was a fake. But you know, it's always easy to look at things in the hindsight, and I didn't have anything to compare it with. My only excuse other than that, I didn't do my homework well enough, and I didn't think anyone in their right mind would copy a $30 knife, but I got wiser. And here we have the two knives together. The bottom one is the fake or the counterfeit, and I think even in this perspective it's very easy to see that they are quite different in size. The logo is quite different. This is the original logo. Yeah, even a dead giveaway would have been the box. This is the fake. You can see they even made a fake logo. The original looks quite a bit different. So all in all, if I had them together side by side, no problem identifying a fake. But as I also said, I could have done my homework. What David Hill noticed was the hardware of this one. The silvery hardware, or no colors on the screw. And as I learned when I investigated, Ontario never puts silvery hardware in the knife. They always use colored hardware on all their knives, whether it's black or whatever it is, it's different colors. So just a warning, everything is counterfeited, and I got cheated. I bought it second hand, and I just wasn't paying attention. So we'll put this away. I'll keep it as a forever reminder of doing my research. Not a bad knife, but really bad to counterfeit a knife, even if the logo and so on is not the same. Well, they call themselves Ontario, and I don't like that. We have the original here, and I'll walk you through it. First impressions. If we start at the blade, we have a drop point, a very simple full flat grind with some satin finish, and of course the sort of original Ontario logo, and it says Model 1 and also A steel. Really the original one. Nowadays they come in D2 steel and a little better handle material like carbon fiber. I think this is some sort of nylon, perhaps G10, but I actually think this is nylon. And Taiwan made on the back side. If we continue to look at the blade, we have a very distinct ramp here with some jimping, and this is what identifies this knife. I'm not quite sure that I fancy this design that much, but I thought this was a knife I had to have in my collection. because it is sort of a classic. I watched a video by my friend EDC Austria, and this was one of his suggestions for a knife that every collector should have. I can't follow him all the way, but I agree on some of the knives he mentioned, and this is definitely one of them. Looking at the handle, the black hardware of course makes the handle look very, very clean, and we can see there are holes for tip up, tip down, left, right side carry. So a good knife for lefties. And look at the pocket clip. Strangely enough, both this and the counterfeit was configured for tip down carry, which I find very strange. I don't like tip down carry, but I don't know what your preferences are. I don't like it. A lanyard hole at the back, and as we can see, all these standoffs at the back, so very open construction. As far as I can see inside it, it's not milled out still, compared to the fake or the counterfeit. This is actually lighter. Is this milled out? It actually is. Still, it's heavier than the other one. Fit and finish on this one. It is very, very nicely rounded off, and even better than the fake. The plates, the scales are very nicely rounded. It locks up at around 60%, 50-60%, and even in these typically sharp corners, the liners are very nicely rounded off. The jimping is also unobtrusive. The only place they might have rounded it off a bit more is on top, on the spine of the blade, but you could argue that this makes it good for using on fire steels, and I definitely think this is a worker or a knife for the forest, so it makes a bit of sense that you could use a fire starter with this one. I forgot to mention that they could have made a little bit of sharpening choil here. There is a vague sharpening choil, but it is really not much. I would have preferred a little more. Pocket clip, not deep carry. Ergonomics, and it helps us that it is smoothened out around the corners, but this shape is actually a very, very nice shape. I do have to make a remark about this pocket clip. I really think that this is in the way, sitting as configured as tip up. I will move it to the other side. It helped on the counterfeit as well, because this creates a hot spot when you hold it in hand, but other than that, it feels very nice in hand, and it's actually even better in the reverse cut, because you don't have that pocket clip in your hand that much. Draw cut, actually quite nice. I forgot the centering, which is absolutely perfect, and as I said, ergonomically, not a finger to put on it. I think it is very, very nice in hand. The fact that it is a little bit smaller than the other one actually makes it even better in my hand. I have a size 9 hand, and I still have some extra down here, so bigger hands can do it too. It is not a small knife, but I think it suits me just fine. Last but not least, I'd like to talk a little bit about action, which is very, very nice. It is on bronze washers, phosphor bronze washers, and it has the feel of these washers is not as smooth as bearings, but it is quite smooth for a washer knife, and I like the action quite a lot. I can flip it, thumb stud it, whatever you call it, without doing anything with my wrist, and action is, as they say, I've watched a ton of reviews, and they all say that for the price, which might be $30 in the US, perhaps it's actually quite more expensive in Europe. I got it on sale at around 40 euro, but yeah, $30. It's a cheaper knife in the US, and for that price, it is an absolutely amazing knife. Also in the action department. So my overall impression right out of the box, I have to admit, it seems like a very good worker beater knife, and I will definitely make a review of it. So far it hasn't disappointed me, but we'll have to see. What disappointed me was in fact my inability to research this a little further before I pulled the trigger, but I share my stupidity with you, and in the hopes that some of you, perhaps newer collectors, don't make the same mistakes. I don't want to be very controversial, but I hate counterfeits still. I love my Gansos. This has absolutely nothing to do with Ganso or anyone else putting their own name on what they do, and sometimes it looks a bit more like other things and sometimes it doesn't, but putting the name of the original company, whether you change the logo or not, is bad, and I don't like that. But as long as you play with your open cards and use your own name, I can't really be cheated, but this one cheated me. And you can tell me all day long, I could just have looked at this and see the difference. Well, I didn't have both, and I was naive. It happens, and it happened to me. I'm keeping this for lesson learned. And that's about it. With this, I hope you have a nice day, evening, whatever it is in your country. Bye bye.